we go.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Slick Tactus, and today I got here Koefficient with me, and we're gonna talk about some BlazBlue and who is the strongest character in each BlazBlue game. What's up, Ko?
Hell yeah, I'm super excited to talk about this one because there is some BS that I want to talk about today.
Yeah,
Who's the best one in each version? I definitely am excited to talk about this today. Thank you for having me on.
No problem, man. I've just been on this binge with BlazBlue, and I was like, I want to do BlazBlue content again, because that's kind of where I started with this in KI. So I'm going back to my roots and been playing the crap out of this game.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, let's start off with the first game, aka my favorite one, Calamity Trigger. Okay, Calamity Trigger. Now, these two characters, for my opinion, were the same, and one of them actually got banned from competitive play. That is New 13 and Arakili. I think I said his name wrong.
Yeah, Arakune.
Arakune. Yes.
There you go. You got it.
Well, yeah, Arakune in New 13. Well, New 13 was banned because, honestly, I don't think she was that broken in the first game, but she was also a very unfamiliar character. Same with Arakune. These two were so unique to the gameplay that we are not used to from Guilty Gear, Street Fighter, and so on, that it was very unfamiliar how to deal with these characters. And since this was the first game, those characters was like freaking monsters. So I understand why these two are broken. 'Cause yes, I remember back in the day, New used to get on my nerves, but I want to say within about, 5 months within competitive gameplay, I start learning how to get around her bullshit with Ragna and destroying her. But I still always had a problem with Arakune, because oh my goodness, them bugs were just freaking everywhere. And I think this is the game where he had an infinite, so if he caught you, you was basically dead.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and get into that because I actually have the exact same list as you do, because there's the reason why both of us have the same characters is because they were really, really good, if not like the best versions of themselves. New 13 being a character that's just long range, bugged the hell out of people whenever she was at long range. Not only that, but she had almost every tool to be able to push you full screen for her to start her zoning, and her zoning was almost impregnable. This was probably the only game that I can ever say that there was a 10-0 matchup, or even like close to 9-1, and that was the Tager New 13 matchup. That matchup was basically impossible for any Tager. A lot of people have tried, and you can try as well. A lot of people try to sledgehammer, a lot of people try to just pick their moments, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Tager was, I felt bad for Tager every time he went across a New 13 player. It's a lot better these days, but back in CT, whoo, that was really bad. And the fact that most of the time your bursts, just how the game's mechanics with the bursts and everything else, how that works, just did not work in anybody's favor against New 13. She was just a super strong character. Zoning was ridiculous. And then, of course, Arakune, which is 100% one of the most cancerous characters ever, with one touch curses and just one mix up or just one confirm, and that's basically it for you. He definitely made his presence known in this game just because of the one touch curse. And like you said, a lot of people banned most of these characters, either New 13 or sometimes Arakune, but either way, both these characters were just titans in CT. And there was a lot of really great characters like Ragna and Noelle as well. That's where a lot of hatred from Noelle also stemmed from, was Calamity Trigger. So the game was it was kind of broken in my opinion for CT, but it was fun in that regard.
Yeah, the first game, everybody had their like crazy little gimmicks, and I did not know she was a 10-0 against Tager. That's just
Oh, that was bad. Oh boy, you look up any footage, you'll never see a Tager win against a New 13. Never.
But yeah, the first game had all these gimmicks. You had George 13 and Rachel's freaking electric chair. Oh, I hated that so much. Carl Clover, because his double team abilities, which was crazy. Aquaman ridiculous. Countering everything.
Yep, exactly. And unlike other games, like this game, when you burst, you went into danger time. which means you take like double damage for everything, just unscaled damage no matter what. So it's kind of ridiculous.
Okay, Continuum Shift. Now, this one, oddly enough, well, for almost all of them, the dynamic always changes. Because I've been hearing a lot from a lot of people that Ragnar was actually pretty top tier in this game.
That's correct.
Oh, he is?
Yes.
Oh,
well, he didn't. He became top tier in CS and in C6 as well.
Oh, wow, good job, Ragnar. I shouldn't have gave up on you.
yeah, no, Ragnar was kind of crazy, and Continuum Shift Extend.
Because he was my main in the first game, and then I dropped him for Hazama in the second game, which oddly enough, he was pretty good, but apparently the top tier was Valkenheim, and honestly, I can see that because that man was godlike.
Yes.
This man had a maximum Valkenheim, maximum spider, without actually doing a super. That man would keep you in the air and just zigzag around you and just drop down and just destroy you. So I was like, yeah, he's a pretty good character. He had some of the sickest mix-ups ever. And I'm pretty sure he was safe on everything because I could never find an opening fighting this guy. So I was like, yeah, Valkenheim, I definitely got to say that you was definitely one of the strongest characters in the second game. And then Hakumen. Hakumen got way stronger in this game. I was like, dude, you was slow and hit hard. Now you are slightly faster and you hit way harder. You went from a truck to a Bowie, whatever the giant planes are, and you just, yeah.
No, yeah, he was 100% like Hakumen. This is where this is the era where he won a tournament. An Evo. Hakumen won an Evo, Noel won an Evo. So just to kind of talk about the characters I think were really good. Yeah, Ragnar's definitely up there because Ragnar has some crazy damage. And that's back when Belial Edge was a thing, and Belial Edge extended combos beyond belief in the corner and everywhere else. And Ragnar was just really good. That's back when he had his install too. So before overdrives ever happened in the later iteration, he had his install as a super. So he could just use it at any time, and you would get some crazy, ridiculous combos. So yeah, Ragnar was definitely a force to be reckoned with. Valkenheim, you don't even have to talk much about Valkenheim. The character is just a mixed-up monster. You cannot block Hakumen for more than 5 seconds. He will find a way to open you up. And back then, he did quite a bit of damage. So the whole payoff now in this day and age was that Valkenheim doesn't do as much damage, but he has a ton of mix-up. Back in the day, just or you get opened up, you die. So but there's also a lot of different characters. Noelle was at her best at this point in time in the Continuum Shift Extend era. She actually won an Evo. There's also like Mew 12 was also ridiculously good, and as well as Hakumen, as you were saying. Hakumen was just, just talking about him makes me kind of shiver, just because of the damage that man could do. So much damage.
You know, funny enough, in my opinion, I always thought they nerfed Noelle because in the first game, she didn't really have to rely on drive that much. And I feel as though in the second game, she had to rely on the drive more. And I really didn't like that about her. Which even funny enough, because in the first game, I would play people online and then they'll send me messages like, yo, you're the first Noelle to actually fight me the whole game without ever using drive. Kudos to you. And I'm like, oh, cool, thanks. Then I get to the second game, I'm like, oh man, I'm kind of forced to use this thing because she ain't doing no damage no more.
Yeah. No, she is. She has a lot of crazy stuff with having just plus frames out the wazoo, cancelable buttons beyond belief, combos with grab combos. So she would actually do like grab cancels. So she would whiff a grab and that would actually count as a combo. And her mid-screen game was actually really, really good too. Plus, she's just the fact that she uses her drives a lot. She just had a lot of mix-up with those drives. Plus, the legendary 4D was a thing in Calamity Trigger and in this game too, where 4D was actually a head invul move, which means that she could anti-air with it. So,
wow.
Yeah, she was kind of crazy during this old period of Noelle. Noelle was really good.
I thought her Sweet Chin Music anti-air was good.
No, no, sir. She was just really strong. But yeah, no, I think in my opinion, like Ragna, Valkenhayn, Lychee was also very strong too. Noelle, a bunch of those other, and there's a handful of other characters too that were very strong. But I gotta say those are the token few that I could consider top tier.
Okay, Chrono Phantasm. Well, this one is about to be very obvious.
Yeah, and if you want, we can kind of break up because this is the time where the competitive scene was a little bit more prominent with streaming and stuff. So a lot of people knew a lot more about old Chrono Phantasma versus Extend Chrono Phantasma, and both were very different games. Unlike Continuum Shift, where I didn't know too much about vanilla Continuum Shift. But Chrono Phantasma, oh boy, I know all about that one.
Yeah. Don't know what we're doing. We're going to reminisce a little bit. That's right. We're going back in time. We're going back to a time where Coco was absolutely busted.
Yeah, but yeah, okay, let's go ahead and get into this Chrono Phantasm. Well, before Extended, Valkenhayn was still basically one of the top tiers. He had some really good matchups. He was just destroying people. Like the only person I feel like who can go toe to toe with him during that time was like Lychee, and even then she kind of had some problems with this man. But then Extended came out and Kokonoe just destroyed the field. She just destroyed everything. She had excellent stream control. She was ridiculous with the pressure. Oh my goodness, I already talked about Golden Tiger in the top 5, but we're about to talk about it some more. Golden Tiger was a monster.
Died. He would have gotten sucked in by the black
I'm
hole.
excited to see this combo.
Do it! Yes! Do it!
Golden Tiger! Oh! 10,000 damage!
Oh yeah, did I forget that Golden Tiger was kind of ridiculous?
This thing just destroyed people. It was so easy to set up sometimes, and it just obliterated health. She kind of struggled against rushdown characters, but honestly, her gravity pulls, her getaway game, her ice gun, she had so many options just to make sure you stayed away and just controlled everything. So yeah, everybody knows about Kokonoe. Everybody knew she was a monster in this game, and she got heavily nerfed in the next game.
Yes, she did. So yeah, for Chrono Phantasma, you don't have to even talk about. So when Vanilla first came out, 1.0, that's when Coco came out, and she was broken in 1.0 Vanilla. Like you said, she had everything and more. She had 50/50s. She had unblockable gravity holes. That's when gravity hole was running rampant. You couldn't escape gravity hole in the corner if you had the right setup. It was legit just, okay, you get in the corner, perfect. I'm going to combo you, and you better have bursts because I'm going to end this combo off, or the sequence off with a gravity hole. And that's when you're going to get scooped up and you're going to eat 4K afterwards. So no scaling at all for gravity hole. Everything was just still the same. Super, super strong. Unlimited gravitons as well. Her gadgets were also very fast and very strong. And she also had ridiculous buttons just such as 3C and 6A and 6B. All these different strings and different chains that she had were just super good and helped her out in an immense way. So Coco was 100% broken when Vanilla came out, and then they nerfed her in 1.1. In 1.1, she was nerfed. She went from broken to god tier. So they nerfed a couple things about her, but not enough for you to justify a lower tier than god tier. So she was nerfed, but she was still really good. But at those times, there were some other characters that were really good too, like Lychee were really good. Azrael was very strong as well in 1.1 and 1.0 because he just did a truckload of damage, and Galileo made him look unstoppable. I'm sorry, not Galileo. I'm sorry, Dogura made him look unstoppable. Those characters, Valkenhayn was still really strong, like you said. Rachel was incredibly strong too. So all those characters were super, super strong, but they were all overshadowed by Kokonoe, which was broken. And then Extend came out, and when Extend came out, that's when they finally nerfed her. She went from god tier to like A, maybe B tier, which even then she was still really strong. They nerfed her graviton, they nerfed her chains, They nerfed Gravity Hole more importantly than anything else, and that's when she became kind of mortal again.
Mortal.
So yeah, mortal. But that's when the rise of Izayoi came out. CPEX, I think, without a doubt, was the era of New 13 again. Actually, New 13 was incredibly strong. That was the closest she would ever get to her CT version. So she was very strong and very popular. And then there was Izayoi. Izayoi, because in and regular vanilla Chrono Phantasma, Izayoi was not very good. But when Extend came out, that's when she became extremely good and extremely strong.
Also, shout out to Hazama being the lowest high tier character in this one. Like,
yeah, he was, yes.
Yeah, like he couldn't deal with Coco, Valkenheim, Lychee, and Azrael, and even Tao Kaka. Oddly enough, she became good in this one. But he was better.
Yep.
He was high mid tier. I was like, yes, at least he was a contender.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about Tao with her like infinite looking combos, but it wasn't an infinite. So you're like, oh wait, when did the combo counter reset? What happened here?
Yeah, she probably would have been a higher spot if she didn't have low health.
Yeah, low health and low damage output.
Yeah.
All those things. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Tao was incredibly strong too in this version. And so were a handful of other characters.
Okay, and now we're at the final game, Central Fiction. And oddly enough, I didn't expect that this one would be so different. Because I honestly didn't know Azoi, that's how you say her name? Izayoi. Yeah, Izayoi. I did not know she was actually that good. I guess I never like legit ran into her. And this is during the time I was kind of off the competitive scene. I was more into like Killer Instinct during this time. So I didn't really watch that much gameplay, but when I did play it, I didn't really run into her that much, so I didn't realize how much of a problem she was. I knew 9 was a problem, but oh my goodness, This girl with these teleport mix-ups, I was like, oh crap, this girl is pretty good.
She definitely was.
Yeah, like I knew 9 with her whole switching up magic, her rock throw, her wind tunnel, her fire punch that can track you from anywhere, which is extremely annoying sometimes. I knew that she was a good character. We all knew that Izanami was a good character. I mean, she's the boss character and the ribcage. We all knew about that. But Izayoi, that was a surprise to me. Like, ooh, watching some competitive play with her, I was like, yo, she got skills. I didn't know she had this potential. Like, the only reason why I even noticed is because when they announced her for BB Tag, a lot of people was hyped, and I was like, what's so great about her? And I went back and said, oh, okay, I see you, Super Sabaki.
Yep, exactly. That's what she was. But yeah, in Central Fiction, I will probably have to say that Izayoi was still up top for sure. And there were a handful of characters, and the game was pretty top heavy with 9, the Phantom, as you mentioned. Her rock was with Kunzeit's was ridiculous. It was plus 22 on block. It had some really good tracking as well. So it went a pretty good distance. And if you were closer to it, then it would track to where you are. And her teleports were really fast. And eventually those all got nerfed. But this was back when she was at her absolute best. Her magic, her unblockables, everything about that this character was super cheap. But alongside that, or her, there was another character that was just as good as 9, and also another boy that was around that was just as good as them too. I'll say that Izanami was also this was when she was at her best. When Izanami had some pretty cheap things, that's when her barrier wasn't as easily drained as it is right now, because she got nerfed as well, but she's still the best. Crazy confirms anywhere mid-screen, corner combos, corner pressures ridiculous, her mix-ups, her rib cage, her command grabs, everything about this character is just extremely just hair-pullingly infuriating to play against, I should say. If you're playing her, oh man, you're gonna have a blast. It's a great time. But Izanami was incredibly good in Central Fiction. And just an honorable mention with Izayoi. Izayoi, when Vanilla CF came out, her biggest gimmick, or the biggest thing about Izayoi, was her Transam. And her Transam is basically an install. And just think of, I Burn with Yang?
Yeah.
think about that, but just anytime you have 50 meter. And it's literally when she got out of Trans Am, it's 0 frames of recovery. Or 1 frame of recovery, some crazy thing like that. So she could literally just pause buffer the screen. We have a very excellent player called SKD, and he was infamous for this. He would just, if he had 100 meter, he would wait, he would Trans Am. Okay, what are you doing? Okay, nothing yet? Perfect. And then he would do it again like 2 seconds later. Oh, you're doing something? Okay, I'm going to DP right here and get a full conversion. So yeah, it was a legit pause buffer that also gave her some strengths when she went into that install, the little helpers that she had, and they would buffer damage and buffer her pressure. But yeah, Izuyo was incredibly strong. So was Izanami in 9, but the best character I probably have to give it up with Carl, just because Carl. This game, just to kind of elaborate a little bit more, the characters that had puppets, or Carl, Rachel, and other characters as well, they could control things while they were getting up. So like Rachel, she was also very strong. When she was getting up, she could actually shift the wind, so she can switch up her timing of her tech timing. So with that being said, she could just fly away or like get blown away or get blown towards the opponents when she's teching. And they took that away in a later patch, but that was really funny. And then this was back when Arachne also had a one-touch curse. He still has it now, but he was very strong during this time. So a lot of really strong characters that eventually got nerfed in CF2. And now that CF2 is out, Izanami is still running rampant, and she's still really good. And you know, the game is I think as balanced as it is right now in CF2. But CF1 was very top heavy.
I did not know Carl was a contender in Central Fiction.
Oh, he was super good. He's top 3, 100%.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He won EVO.
Oh, snap. I don't remember
that.
He
won EVO. Yeah, it was the legendary Fenrich versus Ryusei EVO Grand Finals in 2017.
Yeah, because the list I have here, they have Jin as number 5 and Carl as number 6.
Carl as number 6?
Yep.
He won EVO, and Fenrich, I think the reason why Jin is up there is because of Fenrich. And Jin was super good as well. But Carl, in my opinion, is definitely top 3. Right next to, and CF1, yeah, Carl, Arachne, and probably either Izanami or Izuyoi. One of those.
Well, there you have it. Some of the strongest characters in BlazBlue are all across the board. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Who's your favorite / you think is one of the strongest characters from the BlazBlue series? I'd like to hear it in the comments down below. Thank you, Ko, for helping me out with this video.
Of course, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, man.
No problem, man. Who knows? Maybe we'll go back and do who are the weakest characters of BlazBlue. How you think about that?
I can think of so many.
So until next time, with your boy Slick. See ya. Finally, after all these years, I finally finished this video. Ko's gonna freaking kill me. We recorded this at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but like right after we finished doing the top 5 BlazBlue, we recorded this mini podcast about who's the strongest fighter. But the thing is, I deleted a lot of files, and I think I accidentally had deleted this, but luckily I had made a copy in a different file and found that. But then it was kind of distorted, so it took me all this time to fix it, because Ko was like at an 11 while I was at a, I want to say 4. So I had to go through this whole thing and splice the sounds to make us pitch perfect to each other, where he wouldn't overpower me and you couldn't, you know, that kind of stuff. Which I don't get, because I had the same settings for the top 5, but the top 5 came out right. But anyway, this took forever to fix. And I don't even think I ever told Ko. Ko probably sitting there like, whatever happened to the other video? So for that, Ko, my bad. You probably ain't never gonna co-op with me ever again. I'm sorry. This took so much work. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Bye.